All right, let's dive into a story that honestly feels like it's ripped straight from a prestige TV drama.
Yeah.
We're talking power, legacy, intense family conflict.
Yeah, it really does beg our belief sometimes.
But this is real life. It's this huge multi-billion-dollar battle raging over one of the most influential media empires on the planet.
Exactly. And we're going deep today into this extraordinary legal fight within the Murdoch family. It's something that's been, brewing for years.
Right.
But just recently, this flood of new information has emerged, really pulling back the curtain. You get to see just how, volatile things truly are behind the scenes.
And that's really our goal for you today, to cut through the noise. We're basing this deep dive on some pretty incredible sources. There's a rare interview James Murdoch gave The Atlantic, and also literally thousands of pages of court documents that the New York Times got hold of.
A real treasure trove.
Totally. So we're going to unpack all these layers for you, help you understand what was really at stake, and uncover these, frankly, shocking revelations that tested the very foundations of this incredibly powerful family.
Yeah.
Think of this as your shortcut, your essential guide to this whole high-stakes saga.
Okay, so setting the stage, the heart of the drama, it really centers on the future of Rupert Murdoch's media empire. And critically, the multi-billion-dollar family trust that governs it all.
Right.
And for Rupert, his main objective became amending this trust, a trust that was supposed to be irrevocable, mind you.
Supposedly, yeah.
His goal was to make sure his eldest son, Lachlan, would have sole control over Corp and Fox Corp after Rupert himself passed away.
And the why behind that is fascinating. From what's been reported, Rupert genuinely believed Lachlan's leadership was just essential to keeping the companies as these, powerful conservative political forces.
Mm-hmm.
He saw that political alignment as absolutely key to their profitability, their influence, almost like they couldn't be separated.
And it's crucial to grasp the existing setup versus what Rupert wanted. The trust, as it stood, actually split control 4 ways. Between Lachlan, James, Elisabeth, and Prudence, the 4 older children.
Yeah, so shared control.
Shared control. But Rupert's plan, which was secretly and kind of ironically nicknamed Project Family Harmony,
yeah, ironic.
aimed to completely dismantle that. He wanted a single, clear line of succession, and that line pointed directly and only to Lachlan.
And based on the documents, it seems one sibling was immediately flagged as the main obstacle to this vision.
Right, James Murdoch. He was perceived within that camp as the troublesome beneficiary, the one most likely to actually use his voting power, his stake, to try and steer the companies in a different direction, away from the path Rupert had laid out.
And that perception, it turned out to be pretty accurate, didn't it?
It did. James, along with Elisabeth and Prudence, they pushed back hard. They believed Rupert trying to change the trust fundamentally undermined its whole purpose, its agreed terms.
They weren't having it.
No, they weren't going to let it happen without a fight. So they took legal action.
Which then escalated pretty quickly, right, into this full-blown courtroom battle in Nevada in December 2024.
Exactly. And this is really where Rupert's carefully constructed succession plan it hit a massive wall.
What happened?
The court actually sided with the 3 siblings who were opposing the change, James, Elisabeth, and Prudence.
Wow.
Which effectively, shattered Rupert's original vision for who would lead the empire after him.
That must have been a huge blow.
Oh, absolutely. A seismic moment for the family, you could say.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is, while that verdict was significant, it's not necessarily the end of the story.
Oh.
Rupert and Lachlan, they've appealed the decision. So the legal fight, it's actually still ongoing.
Okay, so the legal gears are still turning.
Right.
But setting that aside for a moment, the real core of this, it feels like, is the incredibly personal conflicts that just exploded within the family.
That's where it gets really raw.
Yeah, and this is where we find some truly astonishing stuff. Starting with James Murdoch's claims against his own father. In that Atlantic interview, he said Rupert doesn't believe his adult daughters are capable of making decisions. I mean, what does that tell you?
It's incredibly revealing, isn't it? It points towards this perhaps quite patriarchal view, which likely fueled a lot of the daughters' resistance.
Makes sense.
It suggests Rupert saw control as something passed down very specific lines, maybe seeing the daughters as less capable, or perhaps just less aligned with his ultimate political vision for the companies.
Right.
And importantly, James himself flatly denied any kind of secret plot, any coup among the siblings against Lachlan. He framed their opposition more as a stand against, what they saw as their father, basically dismissing their ability to contribute.
And talking of family dynamics, it seems the TV show Succession had this weirdly profound impact. Elisabeth Murdoch apparently really panicked after watching the final season, the one where the patriarch Logan Roy dies.
Yeah, the report said she was extremely upset. Watched the episode twice.
Why do you think that hit her so hard, that fictional portrayal?
It's such a striking parallel, isn't it? You can imagine Elisabeth seeing the chaos, the power vacuum, Logan Roy's death unleashed on screen, and it just mirroring her own deep anxieties about her family's future, about the empire's stability post-Rupert.
Yeah.
Her reaction actually spurred her representative to the family trust, a guy named Mark Devereaux, to draw up a PR strategy for when Rupert eventually passed away.
A PR strategy for his death.
Exactly. He called it Project Bridge, like a direct nod to Project London Bridge for Queen Elizabeth II.
Okay.
The whole idea was to prevent chaos. It covered everything from, basic questions like burial arrangements to the really critical stuff like how the trust voting would work.
This plan, meant to prevent chaos, it actually caused more friction.
Ironically, yes. Rupert reportedly saw a copy of this Project Bridge memo, and it just irritated him.
Just irritated. Or was it more than that? Like, maybe it hit a nerve about control.
I think that's exactly it. It points to this deep-seated need for control, for dominance over everything, his empire, his family, even seemingly over the plans for after his own death.
Wow.
Meanwhile, you have Liz seeing herself as this neutral party like Switzerland between her warring brothers. But Devereaux's own notes apparently said she wasn't really prepared for the immense pressure of being the deciding vote.
Caught in the middle.
Completely. Which highlights the massive burden she was under.
And the emotions, they really did boil over dramatically at one point. There was a trust meeting secretly taped, apparently, where Liz accused her father and brother of raping the family company.
That's an incredibly strong word.
And then she apparently added, "If you think that is harmony, we must be in North Korea."
It's hard to even fathom the level of raw emotion there. What does that outburst really show us?
It speaks volumes, doesn't it, about the sheer emotional intensity, the feeling of utter betrayal. It suggests this profound sense of violation, not just financially, but violation of the family's agreements, their legacy.
It wasn't just business? Clearly not. For Liz, it seems it was about the integrity of the whole thing and her own place within it being disregarded.
Then there's the courtroom drama itself, getting even more personal. James told The Atlantic about his deposition. He alleged Rupert was actually secretly texting his own lawyers questions to ask James during the deposition.
You're kidding.
No, and the questions were brutal. Things like, have you ever done anything successful on your own? Or, why were you too busy to say happy birthday to your father when he turned 90?
Wow.
And the lawyer apparently even called James and his sisters white, privileged, multi-billionaire trust fund babies. But James said the absolute shocker was realizing his father was texting the lawyer questions to ask me. How fing-twisted is that?
That is astonishing. It just paints this picture of extreme personal animosity, Rupert wielding control, even in that formal legal setting. It turns a deposition into this deeply personal attack.
Blurs all the lines.
Completely, between legal process and, family vendetta. It's pretty chilling, actually.
And then there's Lachlan. His fury over the huge 2019 sale of Fox's movie studio assets to Disney for, $71 billion US?
Yeah, a massive deal.
He was reportedly so angry, he called the businesses that were left shitco. It doesn't sound like just a standard business disagreement.
No, not at all. For Lachlan, it seems it felt like an existential threat to his vision for the company's future, and he didn't hold back.
What did he do?
Reports say that at a dinner with Rupert and James, Lachlan laid down this incredible ultimatum. He apparently warned Rupert, "You will not have a son if the deal went ahead."
He said that to his father.
Yes, and he told James, "You will not have a brother."
Good grief.
It wasn't just about the deal itself. It was this, desperate move to protect his perceived future, even if it meant threatening to completely sever family ties.
Beyond the power plays and the money, though, this whole thing also exposes these really deep ideological divides, doesn't it? Like with James after the Charlottesville protests in 2017.
Right. That was a key moment. He felt this deep moral conflict. He wanted to speak out against the white supremacists, but he knew his father and brother, who stayed silent, would just see it as him nagging.
So what changed his mind?
Well, according to James, it was his wife, Catherine. She apparently asked him this really powerful, pointed question. If you're not going to stand up against Nazis, who are you going to stand up against?
That's quite a question.
It really is. And it spurred him to act. He sent out his own statement, didn't consult Rupert or Lachlan, publicly hitting back at Donald Trump's very fine people on both sides comment.
What did he say?
He wrote, and this is leaked, I can't even believe I have to write this, standing up to Nazis is essential. There are no good Nazis. Or Klansmen. Or terrorists. A very clear break.
Definitely a break from the usual family media line, highlighting a profound difference there.
Absolutely.
And the attempts to change the trust, they weren't just happening through lawyers. Rupert actually went to London in December 2023 to meet Prue and Liz separately. And apparently, he came prepared, reading from a list of talking points to both of them about his legacy, about Lachlan being the clear, designated leader. It sounds almost scripted.
It does, doesn't it? It really underlines his strategic approach, even in these intensely personal family meetings, treating them almost like, business negotiations.
How did the daughters react?
Prue was reportedly just too shocked to say much. But Liz, she pushed back. As Rupert was apparently sketching out the new trust structure on a notepad, she told him straight, "You are completely disenfranchising me and my siblings."
Strong words.
And then she added powerfully, "You've blown a hole in the family," really capturing that feeling of being dismissed and her deep worry about the family itself.
And finally, there was this key piece of court evidence at Claridge's dinner.
Ah, yes, the infamous dinner.
Prue, Liz, and James met in a private room at Claridge's Hotel in London. This was September 2023, just days after Rupert had actually signed off on making those trust changes.
Right. The timing was key.
And Rupert's lawyer, Adam Streisand, he argued this was proof. Proof they were plotting to use their combined votes to outmaneuver Lachlan after Rupert died. He asked, why book a conference room for a simple sibling dinner? It does sound a bit suspicious, doesn't it?
Well, on the surface, maybe. But Liz, while she admitted it wasn't their usual style, she argued they just needed privacy. Privacy to talk about their father's eventual death and what these huge changes meant without, being overheard.
Okay.
And James was adamant. He insisted they never discussed actually toppling Lachlan. But he did admit they talked about their frustration with the leadership and, crucially, about their future voting power together.
So it highlights the distrust.
Exactly. The distrust had gotten so deep that even a private dinner between siblings could be spun as some kind of conspiracy.
So after all of that, all these revelations, the trial happens, what was the immediate aftermath?
Well, before the verdict actually came down, James, Liz, and Prue wrote this quite sentimental letter to Rupert.
Really? After everything?
Yeah. Expressing sorrow and grief, asking him to end the whole destructive judicial path so the family could maybe start to heal. A real plea for harmony, despite all the bitterness.
How did Rupert respond to that?
His reply was apparently incredibly stark and cold. He wrote back something like, "Only to conclude that I was right."
Ouch.
Yeah. And then he basically told them, "Have your lawyers contact my lawyers if you want to talk more." That was pretty much the end of that conversation. Showed his absolute resolve, really, a total rejection of their plea.
And then, as we know, the trial itself didn't go his or Lachlan's way. They lost that round on December 7th.
That's right. Although, as we mentioned, they have appealed that Nevada court decision. So this saga, it definitely continues.
Wow. What a story. This deep dive, it really has shone a light on these incredibly complex dynamics, hasn't it? Power, control, these intensely personal relationships, all playing out within one of the world's most powerful families.
It really shows how even the strongest family bonds can just fray or even snap under the immense pressure of a multi-billion-dollar legacy.
And that perspective on power and control and legacy, it brings us right back to the big questions here, doesn't it? What does this whole saga really tell us about the true cost of building an empire like that? About how durable family ties really are under that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And, how far people will actually go either to protect that empire or maybe to change it from within. Definitely something for you to mull over long after this deep dive wraps up.